Today I'm still working on my my carrot clicker, and this is what I've got so far. There's now espresso, which now there's espresso now, which now like gives these guys more energy. So same for the phone. Basically, I'm just doing some stuff, so you can watch now.
200%. And to get another 50% here costs almost one, I'm guessing, gigawatt. But let's see if we can get our clone speed increase up to 50% chance, which might be the cap. And it actually isn't the cap. Very nice. More base rewards there because it's still pretty cheap. So our rewards for this is 53 milliwatts. Okay, get through this. Ooh, skirted off the tip of the spiky, and we got it. Another second faster. And let's just go ahead and buy even more clones here. Almost 20 clones running this course, with 50% of them being faster. So we can actually see the faster ones quite a bit there.
I need to add some sound effects.
Now, how
Gonna
high can we get these rewards
go
going?
down.
If we can get them to be looking pretty nice, I feel like I am obligated to do a run here with the reward being nice as it is. And we're making it pretty good here, and nailed it, yes! A new record! That's all I needed, a nice incentive. But it's time to go even nicer than that, with almost a 30 times base reward. And then just a few more purchases here, just one more. 20 clones running the course. And that brings us right up to our first gigawatt. Yes. so we can actually afford the other 50%. Oh, there's more. Oh, it also kind of makes me wonder if there's something past here. Whoa, hold on. Maybe not. But there is this reward here, maximum clone speed tier. No idea what that means. Does that mean that they are faster still? I don't know, but that's a lot more fast clones in a row. Kind of wonder what happens if I just go right through here. Oh, it doesn't do anything. Why can't I cheat the system? Well, in any case, there. Okay, now we've reached the cap. So that is 300% more. The reward is 124 milliwatts, which means that our clones running through are earning us so much more when they finish it. Hold on, was that one gold? Whoa!
When everything on the IHOP value menu is just $6, you can go all out. Because eggs, bacon, and fluffy pancakes are just $6 every day. And OMG, there's a new BLT. And it comes with fries. Celebrate every day for just $6 with the IHOP value menu.
So
Was
yeah,
that
I'm
one
doing
gold?
pretty good so far.
Whoa! I think I see what the new tier was. It wasn't gold, but it was green. But you know what they say, all that glitters is gold. And it's also worth just boosting the rewards even more. So now each clone is pulling in 124 milliwatts. So let's get even more clones. 23 of them, more base rewards there. And it's weird because the faster ones almost line up with some of the other clones going through. But also if I go back up here like I did, we can just sit like right here kind of. And then just watch our clones go through this whole bit as good as they can, which always involves a death, because that part is just so weird to figure out. Now, is this one also going to cap at 1.1? Ooh, it isn't. And then get 25 clones going through there. More chance for clone speed. Now it's capped. So the clones have a 60% chance of being faster. And then we just gotta keep getting more clones and more rewards. And then we get up to 100 gigawatts, which is sadly only a fifth.
I've discovered a secret combo in Cookie Clicker. Cookie Great. I have been playing Cookie Clicker for 2 years. Today, I end it. I have 5 achievements left, and I'm stuck. Animators were able to achieve the illusion of life without the help of modern technology. I hope by watching you can better understand and appreciate the medium of animation as much as I do, because the amount of dedication and hard work that goes into just making drawings move is unreal. And if you're like me and already know a bit about animation history and find this kind of stuff fascinating, don't worry, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up either. Now, we know that animation is just copious amounts of drawings being shown in rapid succession. But how the f are we going to get people to look at copious amounts of drawings in rapid succession without a computer? Well, believe it or not, there's actually quite a few things we can do without even having to use a camera. One method we can try is by drawing out all of our frames on a stack of paper. I know that's the time-consuming part, but after we're done doing that, we'll hang up all our drawings side by side on a very long wall. Then we'll ride a bike next to the wall and continuously have our head turned facing the wall, and if we pedal fast enough, we'll zip by the drawings so fast
Yeah.
that it'll look like they're moving.
Okay. so nuts. I'm very sorry, guys.
Hey, look!
Uh.
It's a horse! Okay, you're probably thinking, that's
Uh,
not how animation is made. And you're
Uh,
right. This method
sorry.
of animation is totally impractical, but not impossible. This type of human transportational animation has been done before in subway tunnels, with the results
No.
looking pretty
But I'm
legit. This
tired.
minion looks like he's totally moving. I might as well be in the cinema. And for
My mom told me to put my clothes away.
then we turn the
Okay,
lights
I'm
on.
back.
Cool. Then, as the table spins, the light will turn back
what
on
do
when
I
the
do? What do I
second
do?
sculpture is in the same position as the first. So we turn the lights on when the sculptures are in the same spot, and we turn them off when they're not. And what we end up seeing is all of our figures standing in a circle performing the animation, and we don't even register that the whole thing is spinning. And congratulations, you all know what a zoetrope is now. Which, I know, is a pretty fun word that you can whip out at parties like, yeah, I know a unique word that starts with the letter Z that isn't xylophone. Another fun thing about the zoetrope was that a 3D rendering of one was featured in the season 2 opening of Mob Psycho 100. So that's what that spinning thing in the intro was. It was a zoetrope.
My life! We knew our last Verbo was going to be incredible. We didn't know the hot tub was broken.
Or that our daughter's going through a phase.
Hot tub's busted.
I'm on it.
But Verbo had our backs, and with Verbo Care, they moved us. Better place, better hot tub.
Water's real hot, huh, honey? Daughter's about the same.
Teenagers are full of surprises.
Got any room for dad?
Ew, think again, Bruce.
Yeah.
A vacation rental from Verbo is not. If you know, you Verbo.
It's just like a very cool way to prototype extremely quickly. If I go here in Figma, I just have this design here that I pulled together. I can just take the link, I can...
Zoetrope. Okay, let's talk about one more way we can show people drawings in quick succession without a camera, and it's the easiest method by far. So, all we need is this glitchy, abstract drawing like this. Huh, pretty cool and random, right? Except it's not. It's not random at all. I lied. Every line here is placed very deliberately. Let me show you something. If we take this floppy, transparent sheet full of vertical bars and cover up most of the drawing, hey, look at that. The outline we end up seeing looks like one of them kitty cats. Now, if we slide the transparent sheet over and reveal different parts of the drawing, it looks like a kitty cat but in a different position. And if we keep sliding this sheet over, revealing different parts of the drawing, look at him go! This is called a barrier grid animation, and with the right base drawing, you can make all sorts of animations that don't hurt to look at all. And also, I just want to point out that a barrier grid animation was also featured in the Season 2 opening of Mob Psycho 100. Hey, do you guys want to watch anime later? So all these different methods of showing people drawings in quick succession, I don't know if there's a word for it, but I'm calling it physical animation. Like animation you can hold and touch with your fingers, you know? All those warrior cat animation memes, that's digital animation, right? This is physical. It's the real deal. But there's one form of physical animation that we haven't talked about yet that's unarguably the most popular and the most important form of physical animation to have ever existed on Earth. Excuse me. Okay, now we're gonna use cameras. Okay, they finally figured it out. With the invention of film, showing people multiple images in quick succession had never been easier. Now we can take something from real life, burn an image of that into a film strip, process it, and then shine a light through it again to get a recreation of the image. And if we roll this whole strip of film over this strobe light, we get moving pictures. That's why they're called movies, because they move. What the fuck? A lot of times, film was used to capture the movements of real people.
Shield.
But it was also used in the same way to capture the movements of people of the animated variety. Let's take a look at an old cartoon. The 1968 animated Batman series. The first time Batman has ever appeared in the animation form. You know, the really old Batman cartoon that had
Shield.
onomatopoeias appear on the screen during fight scenes? Boom!
Shield.
Pow! Ka-chow! Except they didn't. They didn't do that in the cartoon. Visually showing the verbiage of impacts was exclusively an Adam West thing. In the cartoon, you gotta see those impacts. Hey, can I ask you a thought-provoking question? What the f am I looking at? I know it's Batman high-kicking a goon, but how is it moving? This frame was captured on film, so there had to be a physical camera to capture it, right? So where is this drawing? It's not on a computer. Computers in the 60s looked like this. So where is this? So every animated movie and animated TV show and animated anime before the year 2000-ish used what's called cell animation. This frame of Batman was hand painted, that's right, painted with special paint onto a transparent celluloid sheet, or cell. And then this transparent sheet was laid on top of a hand-painted background, and then this goon that got kicked, well, he had to be painted on his own cell sheet too, and then this image of sandwiched art was captured onto a film thing, strip. Then the Batman cell would come off and be replaced by a whole new hand-painted cell of Batman, and then that frame would be captured, and then the whole process would repeat again and again until the shot was done. This one shot that lasted a little over a second used 14 different hand-painted drawings of Batman, and the goon had 6, just for a second. Now, because having to hand-paint 20 different images for 1 second is insane, there are some things we can do to cut corners without having to sacrifice too much quality. Like in this shot, Robin takes 5 frames to turn his head, but his body doesn't move. So we can paint his body once on its own cell, and now we only need to paint 5 different heads. And since we already have all the frames painted, we can just use the same frames in reverse to make his head turn the other way. And you don't need to pay a background artist to paint a background if you just use blue. A big part of cell animation was being able to animate pieces of a character independently of each other. That's actually why so many old cartoon characters had accessories around their necks, so the animators could separate the characters' heads from their bodies, making it easier to animate. Fred wasn't rocking that ascot just because it was trendy. One of the nice things about using a computer to animate is that you can play back what you've animated and clearly see if your timing is correct and if there's any quick adjustments you can make. Being able to see what your previous frames are is so important there's actually a term for it called onion skinning. But animators pre-2K didn't have computers to re-watch their work, so here's what they did instead. Before they even put paint onto a cell, they first had to draw all their frames out onto a piece of paper. And they didn't work on the frames in chronological order. Like, they didn't go, okay, I just drew the first frame of Batman. Okay, here's the second frame of Batman. Okay, I'm gonna go do the third frame of Batman. Okay, you do the 4th frame though. That way of animating is called straight ahead animation, and some people use it, but the results look pretty chaotic, but it's still used pretty effectively for effects and concert visuals. But most of the time, animators will animate a character from pose to pose. They'll draw out all the important key poses a character will make on paper, and then they'll hold the pieces of paper between each of their fingers and then quickly flip between their drawings just to get an idea of what a drawing that goes in between those key poses would look like. That's called in-betweening, just so you know. And they still wouldn't be able to get a full playback of their animation until every pencil drawing was captured on film and processed. They just had to trust their page flipping technique and their highly trained eyeballs and go, yeah, that looks about right. Let's bring out the paint. And because there are hundreds of shots all having to be animated without a computer, can you really blame the animators that some shots of Batman looked like this? Or this? It was old, remember?
Good job, thank you. Are these what you're
Old
wearing
things are
tomorrow?
bad. Okay, I kind of have a secret. Remember when I said, let's look at an old
put 'em right here,
cartoon?
So
Well, I
don't
might
get
have
wrinkles.
overemphasized
There's
how
still clothes in
old
here.
the Batman
Okay,
cartoon is.
well,
By the time the Batman cartoon
I
came
ha-
out, the movie Bambi had been out for 25 years.
Why'd you lie to
And
me?
are you aware of how
Huh?
I'm sorry. I just really didn't want to do it.
I know, but that's part of being a 10-year-old, is putting your own clothes away. I mean, should we get...
I have only 15 more minutes until shower, so I have to go
good
quick.
the animation in Bambi
When the
is?
bloop clicks.
Dude, Bambi goes so
Hi.
f***ing hard. Walt literally brought in deer from the f***ing woods into their studio just so the animators could be like, oh, that's neat. That's how deers move. I understand this more now. What the f? I honestly thought the Batman show came out way earlier in the animation timeline because of how it looked. Obviously, these two things are created by different studios with different animators and different budgets, and TV animation always has to create more animation per budget, but all the same techniques and equipment used to make an episode of Batman were the exact same techniques and equipment used to make an episode of Bambi. I don't mean that as a dunk on Batman, I'm more so impressed with how amazing Bambi looks, especially since while it came out, World War II was currently happening. So because celluloid sheets were used to animate every TV show, movie, and anime there has ever been before the year 2000-ish, by my calculations, there are millions of cell sheets out there. Like this single frame of Batman kicking, it's on a cell sheet somewhere. And more importantly, who owns it? Many of the cells that still exist have been sold to the general public. But because of how the paint and time works, cell sheets need to be kept very well preserved. So since cells are very hard to preserve, and because they're not making any new ones, some cells are worth a lot of money. This cell
You installed this?
Even had a few screws left over.
If it's important, it's not worth compromising. That's why with Farmers, you can get quality and savings.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, more cheese? The Applebee's OM Cheeseburger is back, now with more cheese. Our juicy bacon cheeseburger served on a sizzling skillet of cheese. Too much cheese? Never. The OM Cheeseburger for $11.99, only at Applebee's.
Did you know that 99% of everything I've ever said on this channel has been written out ahead of time, including the mispronunciation of the word percent? It would be 100% scripted, but, you know, the drawing challenge videos, you can't really script that kind of content, so... Or can you? But every other video has had a script, and that includes the worst video I've ever made, my very first one.
So you know those books you make and
I'm gonna stop it right there because I physically cannot watch another nanosecond of my first video. I want to take it down so bad, but I'm keeping it up so you can see how much I've improved. Because like it or not, the very first thing you make of something is going to be bad. But you have to make the bad thing first so you know how to make things good. The point is, even that sad excuse of a video was scripted. And today, I want to talk about what goes on in the script writing process and how I get inspiration and some tips for writing better scripts. Because if I write something I'm not 100% happy with, then I'm stuck working on a crappy video for the next month. Like this one. People often tell me, oh, I want to make YouTube videos, but my life's super boring. I wish I could have an exciting life like yours. And I always respond with, my most popular series is about me talking about working at a minimum wage small local sandwich shop. A script does not need to be an edge-of-your-seat, high-stakes level story. It needs to be an entertaining story. And I believe if told in a certain way, any story can be an entertaining story. The first piece of advice that I can give that will immediately improve your scripts is, drum roll please, in 5, 4, 3, getting to the point. Because I do animation, the longer the script I make, the longer the video will be, and the longer my team and I will have to spend working on the video, and the more depressed I'll get. So I've subconsciously gotten into the habit of writing shorter scripts that get to the point and cut out unnecessary and unfunny details. I feel like the American school system has brainwashed kids into thinking that the best way to express ideas is through the form of a 5-paragraph essay. Now, have you ever read a 5-paragraph essay that you wrote? They're boring as shit, and most schools require essays to have a minimum word count. So we are now training the next generation into purposely writing long-winded and wordy thoughts that could have been shortened down to a sentence. You've all written essays. You know all about repeating ideas you've already written, or saying the same thing over and over, or reiterating thoughts more than once, or echoing points an overabundant amount of times, or looking up words on thesaurus.com to hit that 500 minimum word count before. Well, you may not be ready to hear this, but you will not need to write 5-paragraph essays in your daily life. Shakespeare knew about this when in the 1300s he wrote, brevity is the soul of wit. Which is ironic, because he really liked to use a lot of unnecessary words. I once clicked on a video that was titled something like, Top 10 Scary Things That Have Happened When Hiking or something. And I thought, yeah, that sounds like a good video to watch at 3 in the morning. And I swear, the video started out like, whether it's to have a healthier lifestyle or to see the great outdoors, hiking is a wonderful activity enjoyed by millions of people across the globe of America. But sometimes, this wonderful activity enjoyed by billions can sometimes turn deadly. Why are you defining what a hike is? We all know. Just show me the blurry photos of Bigfoot already until I'm too scared to fall asleep. So how do I come up with these video ideas? Well, I start by thinking, what can I rant about for hours? Something that makes me go, don't get me started on blank. And then I do get started and I write those thoughts on a Google Doc. And sometimes my thoughts are jumbled and incoherent, like I've been up all night watching Bigfoot videos, but I don't care. I just need to get these thoughts out of my head and splattered onto a piece of paper. And sometimes just starting to write will make me think of new ideas and I go, and another thing! And I repeat that process until the script's done. And then when I'm done writing the script, it's actually not even close to being done. Once I've finished writing, I send the script off to some of my friends and the Amazing, and they look over it with the freshest of eyes, and they'll give me notes saying, hey, you misspelled percent here, or hey, I have a joke you can add, or hey, wait, James, I thought I was your friend. And then I'll choose which of their jokes is the funniest and that I'm going to steal. Here's a fun little YouTuber behind the scenes fact. Since 2018, there's a circle of friends I have where we all trade and read each other's scripts and make suggestions and pitch jokes. And once I'm done reading someone else's script, I get to watch their finished video a month or 2 or 8 months later and see if the jokes I pitched made the cut. And then I get to smile to myself because no one knows that I was the one who wrote that joke, because none of us credit each other, because none of us care. Literally, the last 30 seconds of my Suabway Part 4 video was written by this kid named Infamous Swoosh. I wrote in my script, conclusion goes here. And he just wrote one for me, and I went, yeah, I'll use that. And not credit you. But it's okay because we all don't credit each other equally, so it's a win-win. Everyone in the friend circle gets to look funnier than they actually are. Some days I'll stumble onto a topic that I just know I'm going to make a video about, and then the scripts are a breeze to write. But then there are some days where I'm content with the world and I got nothing that gets me started. But I can't just not make a script that month. Otherwise, what would I make a video about? Random thoughts? I still gotta put bread on the table, and also my team would be out of a job. So on those days, you're basically forcing yourself to be creative on demand, which is not the easiest thing to do. But fortunately, I have a few tricks to get the creative juices flowing. It's called drugs. I'm just kidding. It's called Adderall.
At Edward Jones, we don't just know portfolios, we know people. Across generations and milestones, we anticipate what's next.
I'm just kidding. It's called Adderall. Wait. Okay, but for real, I do have this really complicated technique to get ideas, so write these steps down, okay? What I do is I get a pen and a notebook, put on some lo-fi, and just write. About nothing specific, just whatever my brain thinks is important. I am writing right now, with my left hand. Most people are right-handed, but I am special and am left-handed. I'm glad my teachers didn't force me to be right-handed. They were more concerned about my messy handwriting and horrible spelling. Usually the ideas don't come that quickly, but you get what I'm talking about. So many times at conventions, I'll be on a panel and people will ask for advice about starting a YouTube channel, and everyone on the panel will say, if you want to start a YouTube channel, you just gotta do it. You know, hit the upload button a couple of times. And I feel kind of bad for people who traveled far and wide to a convention and paid for a hotel and waited in line just to hear a bunch of YouTubers say, you just gotta do it. And it sounds cliche, but it's true. We either say that or be more entertaining, and that's rude, so. Recently, I went on tour performing a live show called Scribble Showdown. I'll talk more about it in the next video, don't worry. And before every show, we had a Q&A panel, and the most frequent question we got asked was, can you read my screenplay, and how do you get motivation? And the answer to that question is no, and you don't. You get disciplined. Discipline comes before motivation. If you have a project you want to start or a skill you want to learn, you can't wait around for motivation to hit. Sometimes it doesn't come. Instead, you have to set a schedule where you say, okay, on this day, from this time to this time, I'm going to put in the effort to achieve my goal. And if you don't know where to start, a good first step would be to just get your goals into writing. Get your thoughts out onto something physical. So grab a pen and a piece of paper and just ask your friends to read your screenplay because I'm too busy. So busy that I didn't even have time to record an end card.
So basically, I think that should be it for right now, because I gotta show it to my dad.